All right, hello and welcome to this training. As you can see from the title, what we're going to be covering today is the high frequency human and how to unlock the state of magnetic energy and effortless flow. And as you can see from the overview, what we're going to be discussing more specifically is first the overview itself, then the energy spectrum, the frequency builders, the magnetic state, the review, and then your action items for the day or the next few days. So without further ado, let's get started and start with the energy spectrum. So every living thing runs on energy, and the quality of that energy basically shapes how you experience life. When your personal energy is low, everything feels harder. You think slower, your body feels heavier, and the world in general seems a bit off. But when your charge is high, everything sharpens. You focus better, things flow easier, and people can feel it the moment you walk in. Now, this isn't some abstract idea. It's actually measurable through your body's electrical system, your nervous response, and even your cellular voltage. So, energy in this sense isn't just spiritual, it's biology in motion. And once you realize that your state isn't random, but in reality is pretty measurable, you start to see energy as something you can train, not just something you happen to wake up with. And so here's where it gets pretty interesting. Every thought and emotion you have creates a measurable change in your nervous system. Your cells work like batteries, storing and releasing charge as your body moves through stress, recovery, and focus. And when you eat poorly, sleep irregularly, or stay in constant emotional tension, those batteries drain faster than they recharge. Over time, that drop in voltage will start feeling like anxiety, brain fog, and indecision. So when you raise your baseline charge, you lift everything else. Your focus, your mood, and your magnetism all depend on that single internal current. Now, your nervous system is what decides whether to burn or conserve energy. And that choice depends on how safe your body feels. So if it senses danger, it will tighten up. It will slow digestion, it shortens your breath, and it shifts blood away from creativity towards defense. That's why mental stress will drain you faster than physical work. But once your body starts feeling safe again, through calm breathing, steady routines, and physical grounding, the nervous system flips back into rest mode, and that's when your energy naturally refills. And without this back and forth between effort and recovery, no supplement or mindset trick will ever raise your charge in a sustainable way. So, in fact, in 1994, neuroscientist Antonio Damasio published Descartes' error, showing that emotions actually don't start in the mind, but in the body. The heart, lungs, and muscles, and hormones in general, react first, and then the brain interprets those changes as feelings. And that means emotion is really a form of intelligence, the body's way of basically communicating with the brain. And when you sense anxiety before knowing why, that's your body signaling imbalance before thoughts catch up. So, Damasio's research on patients with brain injuries actually revealed that when the link between body and emotion breaks, decision making collapses. And these people could reason perfectly but couldn't choose because they had lost the body's emotional markers. Those markers, like subtle shifts in heart rate, breath, or tension, they all store the memory of past experiences. And when faced with new choices, the body replays those signals to guide the brain towards or away from action. Now, what we call intuition is often just this body-brain memory basically working faster than thought. And this same feedback loop drives your energy and focus. When your body feels relaxed, the nervous system relaxes, digestion resumes, and the brain in general opens up to creativity. But when tension stays high, the body keeps signaling danger and your mental clarity starts dropping. And regulation isn't about really controlling just your thoughts, but also about calming the body so that the brain gets accurate data. So slow breathing, grounding, steady routines, all of that restores that balance. And when the loop between body and mind runs smoothly, your energy, focus, and mood will rise together, all powered by a clear internal signal. Now, all of that basically leads to flow. Your mental and emotional energy always mirrors your physical charge. So you simply can't feel confident when your biology's voltage is low, and you can't be intuitive when your body's in threat mode. So when you take care of your body, you're not just being healthy, you're maintaining the frequency that lets flow states appear. And you can think of it like tuning your instrument so it can actually play. Now, from here, the next step is really learning how to build that charge on demand and keep it high no matter what life throws your way. Now, energy isn't just physical. Like we discussed, it's also emotional. Emotion is energy in motion, literally emotion. Each emotion carries a measurable vibration that shows up in your heart rate, also in your breathing and in your muscle tone. So gratitude and joy expand your body's field, while resentment and fear tighten it. And that's why two people can be in the same situation and have completely different results. One expands and attracts, the other contracts and repels. So your emotional frequency broadcasts through the world before you even speak. And that's why you want to practice daily gratitude, not because it sounds nice, but because it literally rewires your perception towards abundance, which raises your energetic amplitude. On the other hand, watch for emotional leaks like gossip, constant complaining, or guilt. They drain charge faster than lack of sleep. And every negative loop you entertain is like leaving the lights on all night. So once you see emotion as electrical current, you can start treating your day like energy management instead of a willpower battle. And next comes your surroundings. They always tune your energy field, whether you notice it or not. So light, sound, color, and people, all of them carry frequencies. Spaces filled with clutter, noise, or conflict lower coherence in your system, while order, nature, and quiet strengthen it. Now, most people underestimate how quickly their environment can override their mindset. One toxic conversation can undo a week of meditation if you're unaware of it. So start by checking the spaces you spend time in. Clean them, simplify them, add things that remind you of your higher frequency self. And then protect your proximity. The people closest to you will either amplify or dull your vibration. Energy is contagious, so spend time with people who expand yours. So if energy is shaped by body, emotion, and environment, the next logical step is really learning the specific habits that build charge and raise your frequency deliberately. So here's the data piece. There's real science behind all of this. Heart rate variability, hydration, blood oxygen, and breath rate are all tangible indicators of your energetic quality. So high frequency people show steady rhythms in these markers, not erratic spikes. And when your physiology stays stable, your presence feels stable too, and you can sense it when someone with grounded coherence walks into a room. And their energy will draw attention effortlessly. So start tracking your body's signals. Notice how caffeine, social media, or even just lack of sleep shift your internal rhythm. And then use that feedback to make small adjustments every day. The goal is not to be perfect there, but more so stability. So a steady frequency will always outperform short bursts of intensity. And by this point, it becomes pretty clear that energy management is a skill, not luck. Like any skill, it really gets stronger with consistent practice. So coherence means your thoughts, emotions, and actions are all lined up in one direction. It's basically the opposite of internal friction. When you reach coherence, your energy output multiplies because nothing leaks between what you intend and what you do. And you will feel lighter but stronger, calm yet alert. And that's the real foundation of magnetism. Now, because of that, coherence helps you manifest faster, make decisions faster, and attract better opportunities since your frequency stops contradicting itself. But keeping coherence takes honesty. The moment you act against your values or suppress what you feel, your field loses balance. And so you need to stay truthful with yourself, and your charge will stay strong. So Now that you understand what governs the energy spectrum, biology, emotion, environment, and coherence, the next step is to focus on the practical systems that build and maintain that high charge every day. And these are the real habits that turn theory into lived experience. So let's talk about the frequency builders. So raising frequency is really the result of a series of daily inputs that shape your physical charge, emotional rhythm, and also mental clarity. So every choice you make, from what you eat to how you move to how you think, either increases or decreases your energetic bandwidth. And when those inputs get refined and aligned, your frequency rises on its own. And you start to feel lighter, faster, clearer, and life begins to organize itself around that higher signal. Now, once you start seeing your frequency as something you can actually build instead of something you have to chase, you'll basically stop waiting for good energy days and start engineering them on purpose. And here's the first part. Food is basically electricity in biological form, if you really think about it. Every food actually has energy in it. It's kilojoules. That's actually a measurement of energy. And so every meal will either charge your cells or cloud them. Whole living foods carry electrons that feed the mitochondria, the actual batteries of your cells. But ultra-processed foods do the opposite. They steal charge to digest what your body doesn't recognize. So when you eat clean, your cells fire faster and your mental focus sharpens in a way you can literally feel within hours, and if not, days. And that brings us to hydration as well. Water conducts your body's entire electrical network. When you're dehydrated, your blood thickens, nutrient transportation slows down, and your frequency dulls like static in a signal. So start each morning by saturating your system with mineralized water so that every electrical pathway in your body fires cleanly. And then match your eating rhythm to your body's natural cycles. So when you eat at random times or overload your system late at night, or you snack all day or in between meals, your circadian clock drifts out of sync. So keeping steady meal timing actually anchors your metabolism and stabilizes your emotional field. And it also stabilizes certain hormones like ghrelin and so on. And once your physical charge begins to stabilize through proper fuel, you can move naturally into the next layer of frequency building, movement and oxygenation. So the body's voltage increases through motion, muscle contractions, pump lymphatic fluid, oxygenate tissues, and clear stagnant energy. So when you sit for too long, that field actually collapses inward, and it's trapping emotion and dulling cognition. So strength training, walking, and breathwork, or exercise in general, all act like power switches that recharge your internal grid. So, for example, lifting weights actually trains the body to handle stress without losing rhythm. Each repetition basically teaches your nervous system to hold energy under pressure. And that's the same skill you basically rely on for emotional regulation. Now, breath, on the other hand, conscious breathing, is the simplest and fastest way to really shift your frequency. Slow nasal breathing raises carbon dioxide tolerance. It also improves oxygen delivery to your brain. So deep diaphragmatic breaths also send safety signals to your nervous system, and it instantly lifts your baseline energy. And in between, small, consistent movement throughout the day, like stretching, walking, standing, or just buying, for example, a treadmill for home and just doing that for 15 minutes every couple of hours. All of that keeps blood and lymph flowing, which clears energetic stagnation. When the body flows, the mind follows. So physical vitality builds the foundation, but emotional charge is what really amplifies it. So energy isn't stored only in your body. It's stored in how you feel and how you process what happens to you. So every emotion carries a frequency. Fear and resentment create contraction in your field, while joy, gratitude, and excitement expand it. So the real difference between high frequency and low frequency people often comes down to how quickly they can shift emotional state. High frequency people don't stay in emotional debt. They feel, release, and recalibrate. So When tension builds, don't push it down or try to ignore it. Move it through. Physical movement, expression, or even just deep breathing can convert that emotional charge back into flow. So this is really about transmutation of emotions here, if you think about it. And a lot of artists use this exact skill as inspiration for their art. And by artists, I don't necessarily just mean painters. I also mean music artists and so on. A lot of the times they take these emotions and they turn them into something. They express them in one way or another. And doing that, you can, as I said, convert that emotional charge back into flow, but also into creativity. It can inspire you rather than hold you down. And then choose gratitude as a daily discipline, not just a nice idea. Gratitude literally rewires your perception to look for order instead of chaos. So you're specifically looking for the things that are actually going okay. And that also programs your reticular activating system as well to a degree. So that obviously raises the brain's electromagnetic coherence. And finally, protect your energy with boundaries. Every unresolved argument or act of people pleasing really drains your charge. Because at the end of the day, if you do a lot of people pleasing, you probably hold a lot of resentment. Because you're pleasing everyone but yourself. And then you hold that resentment towards the others, when in reality you really have resentment towards yourself because you haven't set your boundaries and because you know you can't, or because you know it's difficult for you subconsciously. So you simply can't maintain high frequency if your emotions are managed by other people's expectations. Now, as emotional regulation starts to take shape, the next variable to master is really your environment. Because even the strongest internal state eventually absorbs the energy of the spaces it occupies. And this is where the idea of the extended mind, that I'm going to talk about more in other videos as well, this is where the idea of the extended mind comes in. Cognitive scientists Andy Clark and David Chalmers proposed in 1998 that the mind doesn't stop at the skull. It extends into the tools, spaces, and the people that help us think. So to give you an example, if you wrote down something on your notebook, in a way your notebook has now become a part of your mind. This is what the extended mind theory, basically, the idea is. It extends into the tools, the spaces, the people that help us think, the notebook, the phone, the workspace, even the rhythm of a morning routine. All of these act as external pieces of your nervous system. They hold part of your memory, attention, and focus, and energy, if you really think about it. So your environment is not neutral. It either amplifies or drains your regulation. A cluttered room, for example, and some harsh light or unpredictable noise adds background stress your body has to process. By contrast, an organized space, some natural light, and some rhythmic sounds give your nervous system steady sensory data, which also lowers its workload. So you can think of it as emotional ergonomics. You know how a lot of people buy ergonomic chairs? You can think of this as emotional ergonomics, the design of your surroundings to support mental clarity and physiological calm. So when the body is balanced but the environment isn't, the nervous system still has to spend energy managing the mismatch. So mastery isn't just internal regulation, it's creating external alignment. So the mind extends through what it touches. The room you're in, the people around you, the technology you use, all of them feed back into your state. And once you treat your environment as part of your biology, not just a backdrop, you can finally stabilize your focus, energy, and frequency from both directions, meaning the inside out and the outside in. So your physical and social environments constantly tune your frequency up or down. Now, every room, sound, color, and person emits a pattern that either stabilizes your energy or disrupts it. So high frequency people design their environments on purpose, knowing their surroundings will basically amplify whatever state they're in or whatever state they bring in. And so keep your home and workspace minimal, ordered, and filled with things that lift you up. Clutter represents unfinished decisions, if you think about it, which quietly basically weigh on your attention and lower your energetic clarity. And try to use sound strategically. Music tuned to calming frequencies, or nature sounds, or even silence. I sit in silence personally most of the day, will cleanse your nervous system and create coherence. Meanwhile, constant background noise, especially from screens, fragments your focus and leaks energy over time. So then there's light. It regulates your circadian rhythm, and it also influences hormonal balance. So morning sunlight anchors your sleep-wake cycle and primes dopamine for motivation. Artificial light, on the other hand, especially late at night, does the opposite. It scrambles that rhythm and drains the next day or the next day's energy. And finally, people. And a lot of people, especially people who watch this channel, who watch my channel and watch these trainings, don't like this, but relationships act like resonance chambers. So try to spend time with people whose energy matches or exceeds yours. And yes, that might mean cutting out some people. It's not crazy to think that if people are holding you back, they're maybe not the best for you in your life. Depends on exactly what kind of life really you want to live. I mean, if you do want to live their kind of life, then keep them around. Because at the end of the day, you are going to become a mix of the people you surround yourself with. So when you connect with high frequency individuals, on the other hand, your nervous system will entrain. And so it will create a shared field that amplifies clarity, confidence, and creativity. So your nervous systems, they basically synergize, they entrain together. So once your environment supports both your biology and your emotions, the next area to work on is really mental structure. How you think, focus, and talk to yourself. So thought carries measurable electrical activity, and the quality of that current basically shapes the quality of your reality. So each thought either builds voltage or drains it. So repeating heavy, fear-based stories can make your neurons fire in chaotic, wasteful patterns, which drains mental energy. Basically, it can be like background apps on your phone, or if you have 1,000 tabs open on your computer in a different window, and then you wonder why your computer is running slow. So focus, coherent thinking does the opposite. It conserves charge and directs it toward useful outcomes. And so since your brain can't really tell the difference between what's imagined and what's real, every thought basically rehearses the future or a future. So when you imagine desired outcomes with emotion behind them, those neural pathways will strengthen and your body starts operating as if those outcomes already exist. And that's how high frequency thinking basically reprograms your body for higher voltage living. So practice single task focus like a muscle. Every time you notice yourself multitasking, and try to bring attention back to one thing. You're increasing neural coherence that way. And the brain rewards that with sharper concentration, faster recall, and deeper calm. And each focused moment is like a rep in your mental gym. Over time, focus will become natural instead of forced because of this. Next, try to pay attention to your self-talk. It's very important what you say to yourself. Every sentence you say to yourself acts as an electrical command to your nervous system. Because what you say to yourself carries emotions with it, whether you believe it or not. It carries stories with it, whether you believe it or not. So when you repeat things like, I'm exhausted, or I always mess this up, what kind of energy do you think you're sending to your mind? You send a depressive signal straight to your physiology. So replace those loops with grounded statements such as, I'm restoring my energy, or I'm learning precision, With repetition, those phrases will reset your body's baseline and your energy will rise to match it. And then try to add emotional practices that lift voltage directly. So forgiveness releases emotional knots that choke flow. Presence anchors awareness in the body and keeps energy from scattering into worry. And laughter, we all know about laughter. It floods the system with oxygen. It floods the system with endorphins and instantly loosens tension and recharges your cells. That's why people say that laughter is the best medicine. When done daily, these clear static from your field faster than most physical hacks ever could. And just like you'd keep your body clean, try to keep your mental environment clean. So thought hygiene is something not a lot of people talk about. And thought hygiene is to energy what nutrition is to health. So the mind has to match the charge, or energy will start leaking through contradictions. So when you think one thing and feel another and act differently, you basically create short circuits that drain vitality. So audit your inner dialogue and keep it aligned with your values and direction. Each congruent thought seals your field tighter, and it makes your energy less reactive and more magnetic. And finally, try to schedule silence like an appointment. As I said, me personally, I sit in silence most of the day, like zero music, zero sounds. So quiet resets the nervous system and gives your subconscious room to integrate. When input stops, your brain starts sorting, repairing, and connecting ideas you didn't even know you were forming. In those quiet minutes, clarity lands, intuition strengthens, and your energy stabilizes. So protect that silence as much as possible. It's basically like your charging dock. And once your mind stops scattering energy through distraction, doubt, or internal noise, everything like your body, emotion, and environment starts syncing up. The charge you've been building begins to hold steady, and that stability turns into influence. And at that point, you feel more pull than push. Your frequency doesn't only sustain you, it begins to move the world around you. It starts to bend reality around you. And so now, high frequency isn't basically built through random bursts of effort, but through rhythm. So doing the right small things at the same time each day synchronizes your biology and psychology. So consistency compounds like interest. The body loves rhythm. It thrives on predictability. And so when your days follow a steady cadence, your energy becomes self-renewing. So start each day with a grounding routine that basically clears stagnation and builds energy and charge. Hydrate, move, breathe, and just set an intention before the outside world has reached your mind, before you even grab your phone, before you do anything. Try to move, hydrate, breathe, and set an intention for the day. And end each day with decompression. Dimming your lights, some gentle stretching, some reflections, writing down in your journal. All of these things signal closure to your system and prime deep overnight recovery. And as that charge stabilizes and the rhythm takes hold, something new happens. Your energy basically stops fluctuating with circumstance. It starts to radiate outwards, and it affects everything it touches. And that's the point where we step into the final stage of this process, where energy basically turns magnetic and influence becomes effortless. So let's talk about the magnetic state. So the highest expression of energy isn't intensity, it's magnetism. So when your body, mind, and emotion are aligned, energy stops leaking and starts radiating. And you'll begin to feel it first as a calm power, as an amused mastery of life of sorts, a kind of quiet steadiness that doesn't need to prove anything. Other people will notice it too. They'll lean in without knowing why. And this is what happens when your frequency becomes coherent enough to shape the environment around you. So magnetism is what replaces effort once frequency is stabilized. The moment you reach this state, you'll basically stop pushing for results and start pulling them in by the sheer weight of your energy field. So to reach that level, you basically have to understand what magnetism really is and how it behaves in your life. So magnetism isn't charisma, although it can be a synonym for that, and it can look like it. It's not even confidence, though it can feel like that from the inside. It's more so a biological and energetic coherence that makes people and opportunities synchronize with you. So when your field is stable and your emotion is consistent, when you don't have these crazy swings, others will subconsciously relax around you, and they'll mirror your tone and your rhythm. And even animals and technology will seem to respond more easily. The world will begin to move smoother because your signal will no longer be chaotic. And you'll start to notice how conversations flow differently. People will share more, open faster. They will trust you sooner. And that's because your nervous system will broadcast safety, stability. And every nervous system around you will basically respond to that. Every system around you, not just a nervous system, will respond in that way. So this level of magnetism will let you lead without dominance. Your energy will basically carry quiet authority. And you won't have to convince or chase. The field you emit will do that work for you. And now that we've got basically what magnetism feels like, let's look at what actually builds it and keeps it stable day after day. So the first layer of magnetism is grounding. High frequency doesn't mean floating. It means stable current. Grounding will connect that current to the earth through movement, breath, and presence. So you can walk barefoot outside when you can, and you can feel your body weight sink into gravity. And each time you drop awareness from your head into your chest or your feet, you close the circuit between mental and physical energy. And the more grounded you are, the stronger your field will get. So try spending 5 minutes a day in total stillness, just sitting upright, breathing slow, eyes open, and just feeling every point of contact between your body and the ground and your surroundings. Your nervous system will learn to regulate faster from that state. And try to surround yourself with natural frequencies like trees, running water, sunlight. The body will absorb electrons from the earth, and it will lower inflammation and restore electrical balance. So magnetism builds faster when your system recharges in natural conditions. And once you're grounded, that current needs direction because raw energy without intention will scatter. So magnetism strengthens when energy has a purpose to basically orbit around. So you can think of intention as a gravitational pull. It's the core your energy field rotates around. So if you wake up without direction, your charge will basically disperse throughout the day and you'll feel like you don't know what to focus on. But when you begin the morning by basically anchoring one clear focus, one clear intention, whether it's peace, progress, or creation, your field organizes around that target. That's why intentions are so powerful in the beginning of the day. If you wake up and you set an intention, the world will move around that intention of yours. And so you'll start to notice synchronicities that align with it. So try to spend a few minutes each morning defining how you want to feel, what you're creating, what you're doing, and who you're becoming. That simple act will basically command your frequency to align with that outcome. And then follow through on that intention or that focus at the beginning of the day with small daily actions. Just act on that intention. Energy obeys evidence. So when you act consistently with your intention, belief strengthens and magnetism grows. And once intention gives the field direction, emotion gives it charge. And that's where things really start to expand. So emotion is voltage. Every strong feeling you cultivate adds power to your magnetic field. And when you live with emotional coherence, meaning your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions all line up, the body emits a stronger electromagnetic pulse that's measurable by science. So heart math studies have shown that the heart's field can extend several feet beyond the body. And that field changes based on your emotional state. So gratitude, appreciation, and joy produce a smooth, strong waveform, while anger and frustration distort it. And there was an image of that earlier in this video. You can reverse the video and see it. But keep that in mind every time you choose how to react. And use gratitude and appreciation deliberately. So pause midday and reflect on one thing that's working, even if it seems small to you. Because, as I said earlier, you're literally creating order out of chaos based on what you choose to focus on. So feel that sense of thankfulness until your chest softens. That's your energy increasing in coherence. And try to watch your emotional habits like comparisons or complaints. Every time you indulge in them, you basically scatter your charge and energy. So stay aware, reset quickly, and the field will stay clean. And try to practice emotional regulation through breathing or pausing before you react. The more you can hold composure, the stronger your frequency will get. Power always feels calm because it's steady current, not spikes. So when your emotions start holding steady, the next step is really to learn how to project that energy outwards so it interacts with the world rather than staying internal only. So your frequency isn't passive, it will radiate into every space you enter. The goal here is to become conscious of that projection and use it intentionally. So before entering a meeting or speaking to someone or creating something, pause for 5 seconds and bring your energy forward. Imagine your presence basically filling the room or wrapping around the person you're talking to. That small mental gesture will actually change your tone, timing, and your trust in that interaction. So direct your awareness to others fully when they speak. Your energy will follow attention and people will feel that focus as presence. So presence itself is magnetic. So maintain soft, steady eye contact with people. This signals full presence and creates a neural connection that builds trust and openness. And then turn your body fully towards the person speaking. Leaning slightly forward will actually show engagement, and it will tell their nervous system that you're receiving their message. And then pause before responding. When people talk to you, take a moment to actually listen to them. Pause after they say something. Think about what they said. Maybe even repeat what they said. Let their words land fully before you formulate your reply. A lot of people think of what to say next while the other person is talking to them, which obviously decreases connection. It decreases energy. Instead of you being fully present in that moment, listening to the person, understanding what they're saying, understanding where they're coming from, what they might be feeling, you're thinking about what to say next. And then you wonder why you feel like nobody understands you. You do that to others. So this will create space for deeper understanding, and it will also show respect for their communication. So try to speak slower, breathe deeper, and just use some pauses. Your voice actually carries the waveform of your energy. So a grounded tone will actually regulate others, and it will also increase their receptivity to you. And try to reduce your speaking speed by 20%. And the way you can actually practice this is by first speaking uncomfortably slow, very slow, taking a lot of time between sentences or between parts of sentences. And it will feel awkward. It will feel very awkward. But try to just embrace that. Slower speech will actually give your words more weight, contrary to what you might be thinking. And it also allows others to absorb what you're saying without them straining, without them having to think. And try to breathe from your diaphragm before speaking. So deep breaths will actually lower your vocal pitch naturally. And it will also add resonance that others find calming and trustworthy. And don't find it awkward if you actually take a deep breath mid-conversation. And try to use pauses deliberately between your thoughts. Silence will actually create emphasis. It also allows reflection. And it also prevents your energy from becoming scattered or rushed. And a lot of the times, what pauses do is it first allows you to basically think of what to say next without filling up that silence with filler words, which first off, by the way, people will see you as way more confident because of that. And secondly, anything you say after a pause sounds amazing. So use that deliberately. It shows presence. It shows that you're comfortable in your skin, that you're confident, that you're there. And it brings anything you say after a pause has a lot more weight to it. So now look, every text, every call, every post also carries frequency. Everything you see online carries a frequency. This is why it's honestly devastating to basically be watching short form content. Because every video you see carries a frequency. So imagine how many frequencies you're passing through while you're doom scrolling. So write and speak from centeredness, not from hurry. The digital field responds just as much as the physical one. So try to take 3 deep breaths before sending any important message. This first off will center your energy, but it also ensures that your words come from clarity, not from reaction. And try to read your message out loud before you send it. So if it sounds rushed or defensive or unclear, try to rewrite it from a place of calm. So digital communication amplifies your emotional frequency as well. And try to delay response by a few minutes if needed. So a thoughtful reply from high frequency will always land better than a quick one from scattered energy. So when your projection becomes deliberate, when magnetism stops being something that happens occasionally and turns into a living rhythm that operates in everything you do, things change. Magnetism compounds. And every time you act from alignment, you basically reinforce the charge. Every night of rest, every clean meal, every moment of gratitude adds 1 more volt to your field. Over weeks and months, obviously that accumulation creates a baseline of energy that feels impossible to lose. And you'll wake up charged, and that charge will carry you through the day without any effort. So try to protect your energy like an asset it really is. So schedule recovery the same way you schedule work. When you overextend without recharge, your voltage will dip, your energy will dip. So treat energy preservation as strategy. And end each day by reviewing where your energy expanded and where it leaked. So that awareness in general will refine your field faster than any new practice. And so small corrections that you actually make daily will keep your frequency consistent and it will keep it high. And this is the stage where magnetism becomes creation. Manifestation isn't about wishing. When your frequency stabilizes, reality basically starts rearranging itself to match it. Your thoughts act as blueprints, literally. Your emotions as charge and energy, and your consistent behavior as the proof that locks it into form. So you won't attract outcomes randomly. You'll magnetize them through coherence. You have to be aligned. So your actions, your thoughts, your emotions have to be aligned. You'll notice that coincidences become, or quote unquote coincidences, become constant. Doors will start opening without you even pushing them. and things you used to chase now move towards you naturally. And this is the science behind ask and it is given. The universe doesn't respond to words. It responds to stable fields, to a stable current, to stable energy. So use manifestation as conscious direction rather than a desperate request. Define what you desire clearly, feel it as present, act as if it's done, and hold that emotional tone long enough for the field to organize matter around it. And your manifestation won't arrive because you demanded it. It will arrive because you became the frequency of the reality where it already exists. And you became the person in that reality that has created what already exists. And so eventually magnetism begins to create its own ecosystem. Opportunities will find you faster. Conversations will click more naturally. Life will start feeling like it's moving in rhythm with you instead of against you. And at that point, manifestation stops being a technique and it becomes a way of existing, where what you think, what you feel, what you do, all align and echo through the field, and reality keeps answering back in perfect time. So, with that being said, let's go over the review. We talked about the energy spectrum, the frequency builders, the magnetic state, the review, and finally, your action items for the day or the next few days. First, start each morning by grounding yourself in the body. So, hydrate, breathe, move, get sunlight before looking at a screen. This single pattern will actually anchor your energy for the day. So lock your nervous system into safety and set the tone for high frequency coherence that will follow you everywhere. And then try to build emotional voltage on purpose. Take 2 minutes 3 times a day to feel gratitude deeply. And let it spread through your chest until you can sense your energy rising. And use forgiveness to clear resentment, presence to quiet noise, and laughter to release any stored charge. These are daily voltage switches that will lift your frequency faster than any supplement. And then finally, end each day by checking where your energy expanded and where it leaked. And notice how you spoke, how you moved, and how you showed up. Then set an intention for who you'll be tomorrow. And when you repeat the cycle, ground, amplify, and project, you'll basically stabilize your magnetism. It will turn focus into attraction and make manifestation the natural side effect of how you live. So, with that being said, if you enjoyed this training, make sure to give it a like, comment below and let me know what you liked or what you would like to see next, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Now, if you're a professional, an entrepreneur, or a creator, and you want to work with me one-on-one, make sure to book a call from the second link in the description. And if you want this training along with this document, then make sure to join the free community from the first link in the description. With that being said, again, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one.